The Ministry of Education will pursue a phased reopening of schools in St. Kitts and Nevis, says Minister of Education Janelle Powell in a national address on Wednesday.
The phased approach to the return of students is necessary in order to ensure that schools can effectively implement and sustain the health, hygiene, and safety protocols, and where possible, establish and maintain reasonable measures for physical distance in keeping with the school context. The efforts in this regard are informed by the recommendations outlined in documents from UNICEF, UNESCO, and CARPHA regarding the reopening of educational institutions.
Minister Powell also disclosed that there will be a phased approach to the reopening of early childhood centers on a case-by-case basis.
Additionally, the Ministry of Education continues to work closely with the National COVID-19 Task Force. We are currently working together to address the needs of the early childhood sector and to explore the phased reopening of this very critical sector. As a nation, we are moving towards effectively living and working with the threat of COVID-19. And as more and more of our citizens transition back to the workforce, the care and welfare of our youngest citizens will remain of utmost priority. Thus, the Ministry of Education, through its Early Childhood Development Unit and in conjunction with the National Task Force for COVID-19, will begin the process of a phased approach to reopening the early childhood sector on a case-by-case basis. Proprietors and supervisors of nurseries and preschools are asked to contact the Early Childhood Development Unit at 466-2810 for guidance on the application process to commence the review of your facilities in light of the COVID-19 safety requirements. Once the early childhood facility has been determined to be compliant with the new safety and health protocols of the early childhood sector, then that nursery or center will be able to secure approval for reopening.
Meanwhile, Mr. Powell noted that the 2019-2020 school year officially ends on July 10th. The new school year begins on September 7th.
The Ministry of Education has made a decision that the provision of instructions will end on 10th July 2020, as was scheduled on the academic calendar. This means that there is no extension of the academic school year. As such, public school students in St. Kitts and Nevis will commence their summer break after 10th July 2020. Where there are school matters to complete, teachers are required to avail themselves for the completion of all duties. As we look towards the next academic year, the ministry is staunchly committed to a course of action which will increase teacher-student contact time and minimize loss of learning. Therefore, the proposed 2020-2021 school year will commence on 7th September 2020.
The minister was keen to point out that the teachers would be trained during the summer vacation on the methods of engaging students virtually.
Critical to the delivery of quality education and increased student academic engagement during the new school year is the uptooling of teachers to ensure greater comfort and competence in delivering instruction, especially via online modality. This we are planning to do during the annual summer training for teachers, which usually takes place in the month of August. It is important to note that this year, the modality and the timeline for summer training of teachers will undergo the necessary restructuring. At this time, the Ministry of Education is planning on a series of online training sessions for teachers during the last 2 weeks of August. In keeping with previous years, all teachers in the system are required to participate.
The minister encouraged students sitting CXC exams to arrive at their examination centers at least 1 hour prior to the start of the exam, so as to follow all the relevant protocols related to COVID-19 guidelines. Schools in St. Kitts and Nevis were closed abruptly late March after the first 2 coronavirus cases were announced for the Federation. Since then, students have been doing their lessons through a virtual platform under the guidance of the Ministry of Education. The ministry also procured tablet laptops for students who previously did not own or had access to computers to do virtual lessons. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.